We'll be ready in just one moment.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. We'll start the meeting of January 25th, 2022 already. With the approval of the agenda, someone on the committee move that we approve the agenda?
Approve, yes.
I'll second that. And adoption of the minutes of the last two meetings, the Board of Variance of April 27th, 2021, and the Special Board of Variance of October 20, 2001. I'll move that we adopt those minutes. Can someone
Yes.
second that?
I can second.
And moving on to new business, 687 B Mountview Avenue. Kelsey, will you explain this to us, please?
Yes, of course. Thank you. Tonight's variance is to increase the total combined floor area of an accessory building from 60 square meters to 71.9 square meters at 687B Mountview Avenue. The property is a strata property zoned R1. The applicant is requesting to maintain the additional bathroom and mudroom in the existing accessory building. The proposed variance will not change the footprint of the building, but it is to enable a lot line adjustment for subdivision for the accessory building to remain entirely within the property lines of 687B Mountview Avenue. The property, there are currently no secondary uses at the property. The lot coverage is approximately 10%, including the existing structure. A survey from 2008 showed the existing building at 58 square meters, split evenly between both strata properties. An addition was built in August of 2016, which pushed the limit to 71.9 square meters where it is today. The building consists of a bathroom and a mudroom for personal use. This came about as the applicant submitted a lot line adjustment, as earlier mentioned, to have the accessory building entirely on the B side of the strata property. There are no covenants on title that will inhibit this proposal. And letters were sent to neighbors within 75 meters, and I believe we have 2 letters of support from neighbors. The board may request to approve or deny the proposal to go from 60 square meters to 71.9 square meters. And the applicant, I believe, is, yes, the applicant is here tonight.
Okay. Thank you. Nafisa, for your edification, what we'll do now is if any of the board has questions of Kelsey, we'll ask them, or we can ask them later as well. Then we'll allow the applicant to make a presentation to us regarding the proposal. We can then ask him as many questions as we like and get as much information from him as we need. And then we'll close off that portion of the meeting, and the board will discuss amongst themselves as to how they feel about the proposal and come to a vote at the end of the meeting. Kelsey, I have several questions, and maybe I'll just start this off, and the other committee members can jump in as they wish. I suspect that had this application come forward in 2016 before the building was built, it would have required a building permit. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, and so there has never been a building period or building permit, and there has never been a any sort of a building inspection on this property. Is that correct?
That's how I understand. The building permit file doesn't have any additional structures in the rear yard.
Okay. And explain to us, please, this subdivision lot adjustment. How does one go about changing the dimensions of a strata lot?
Great question. I'm going to pass you on to Carrie, who's actually the approving officer at Colwood.
Hi there. I will take that question. So the application came in as a adjustment to the strata plan so that this building would actually, rather than being split between A and B evenly, it would be to remove this property or to enable the entire building on lot B. The process itself is really an application for a lot line adjustment to the approving officer. So that's more of an administrative task that I would have in the office, and I've already considered that. So before I can approve a subdivision, I need to ensure that there is no non-conformance with the existing zoning. So that is why we are here tonight for this Board of Variance consideration.
Okay, thank you. And would that lot line adjustment not require the approval of whoever is living on the other side of the strata?
It would. My understanding is that the owners here tonight own both A and B.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
I also,
Any other
I do believe, and Scott, feel free to come in here, but I understand that the properties are now separated. They're two different owners, but A has provided their approval via email.
Okay, we haven't seen that, but thank you. Any other questions from the committee?
I understand that we received 2 letters to support this application, and I wonder if we receive any reports or any emails that are against this application.
I have not received any phone calls or emails against this application.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the applicants, Mr. Bolware, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Would you
Yes,
tell us
Bullware.
about your application?
Yes. So I bought the second side of the house in 2017 and rented it out for a little while. And I'd already built the bathroom on the other because when I come home, I'm filthy from work. So being a single guy, it was hard enough to keep my house clean. I thought, make a mudroom off of this. That makes sense. I did that. And then I guess it was 2021, I decided I needed to sell the house for financial reasons. And
The other side.
the other side, A side. And my realtor suggested that, because I really didn't want to go without my garage, that I could do this lot adjustment, call a survey, get it done, and then run it through the city, thinking that's all what this was. And it kind of went sideways with things I didn't know about. So yeah, it's just a bathroom mudroom off of my garage so I can clean up right after work. Nothing really very exciting.
And why would there no building permit requested in the first place when you built this building?
Ignorance. I just started building it out of, I was a contractor for years, had stuff, and we just built a roof at one point and then decided this would make a great bathroom for a mudroom and finished it off. Just as simple as that. Just don't have a good excuse there.
Just one more question. I'll turn this over to the committee. It's difficult to tell from the information submitted exactly how much over the lot line this property is. Do we have a definition of that from the city? Do we know how far this is over the mid lot line of the strata?
It's not across any line.
Well, is that why we're not asking for an adjustment? Because it's partially on side A?
The building in question that I put on is all on the B side of the garage.
All of
Okay,
it.
Yeah.
so I'm confused then. What's the lot subdivision application about then?
Hi, I will jump in and speak to that. So because it's a strata property, so it's the same idea as a duplex. You've got one house with the strata property line between the two, separating them. The same context applied to the accessory building. So half of each building would have been applied to each of the two lots. So when we look at those two lots independently, they would be enabled to have an accessory building each, which would be half of the 71.9 square meters. But now what's happening is, as explained, they would like to take the entire building and apply that to one half of the duplex. So that's where the additional area comes in. So that lot line down the center of the accessory building will be removed, essentially.
Confusing, but okay.
They've basically taken over the back quarter of the A lot, which the garage is on.
Anybody have any other questions from the committee?
I'm clear.
So what we have here basically is as far as I can see, and correct me if I'm wrong, is a building that's been built without a permit and has been plumbed and has been wired, but we've got no inspections of that, as far as I know, of any of that work that's been done. And it's something in the neighborhood of 18 or 19% larger than it should be for the given the proper zoning. And on top of that, it started in 2016 and it still appears not to have been finished yet from the pictures.
I've fallen ill. I've actually just got all the siding to do the rest, but I'm not touching anything until you guys give me an answer. So I've just acquired all the siding for the building.
I guess I have a problem, given that we're being asked to approve a variance for a building that should have had a permit in the first place and should have had inspections to make sure that things are up to code. Does anyone on the committee have any feelings about this? Dimitri, what do you think?
Is the new building going to be inspected and going to a permit is going to be issued for this extension altogether, or how do we see that for the future?
Maybe I can just interject again. As part of the subdivision application, the process would be to send out a referral to all the different departments within the city of Colwood, including the building department. So this could be something that they will flag. At this point, we do not have details about that. But in order for me to sign the subdivision, this would be something that I would expect to receive comments back from the building department.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm not sure if I know if we can approve it subject to conditions or not. Go ahead, Dimitri.
No, go ahead.
You go ahead. Sorry.
I did expect it to have this building permit issue eventually. So I'm not sure if we can have that as a condition in our comments there.
Can I make a comment that the work that was done on the small addition of the bathroom and mudroom was done, the wiring and plumbing that was plumbed directly into the septic system that was there was done by a Red Seal journeyman plumber electrician. So if there is an inspection needed, that's easily done.
I think you just answered my question. That's what I was wondering. What is the impact of whatever you've done so far and whatever you're going to do on the adjacent building and area? But probably that's working out, but maybe inspection would be a better option to do that.
It's a relatively small area that was added on, and it's anything that required a journeyman or whatever to do the work that was to be done was done by somebody qualified to do it. So I'm sure that if there was any inspections that needed to be done, Scott would welcome them to come in and do
Absolutely,
it.
yeah.
And again, he did it the way accordingly that he thought he should at the time. So
Gary, can we approve this or with conditions or not? If we were to approve this application, could we do it with the condition that all city staff sign off or something wording to that effect? It would make it equivalent to a building permit having been approved or having been received rather, or not? If we cannot do that, then I do not think I would be in a position to support approval of this application without it being, having had a permit and being properly inspected. I can't see there being a hardship here because had this building been properly permitted in the first place, there would be no financial hardship. And I don't believe, I believe you could make a case that it's not a minor adjustment since it's an improvement of something like 17 or almost 20% of the area of the building that's approved, that's permitted rather.
I'm
So
just
I'm
gonna
back to you,
comment.
Carrie. Sorry, that was long-winded, but if it can be approved and if the committee wants to do that with conditions, then that's the way that we would need to do it. Otherwise, I have a tough time with this one.
I respect exactly everything you're saying there, and I would suggest that it would be a condition that we can highlight as part of your approval for this variance. The variance itself would be to the land use bylaw. So the aspects of the building permitting we will certainly review as well prior to the consideration of the subdivision application. But I would recommend that, yes, you add the condition in there in the approval.
Okay, and how would you word such a condition? I'm sorry, I'm drawing on your expertise here, and maybe you're not ready to make that sort of a suggestion.
Yes, I'm hearing that you would like confirmation of building permit approval and building inspection on the accessory building.
Yes, committee, does that sound like what you'd be happy with?
Definitely, yes.
I would
Okay.
recommend, if your proposal is to approve, that you do add that condition in with it.
Okay, can we add that condition then? I'm not sure who does that, Carrie, Kelsey, whoever's doing the minutes. I would then move that it be approved with the condition that, one, that it be that all city departments that have a concern here approve it and up to building permit standards, and that it meets codes, wording to that effect. And two, that it be finished within the next year. I would shorten up the normal two-year commitments since we've already been built since 2016.
Fell a little behind.
Committee, that's my motion. Do I have a seconder? Approval subject to, my move that we approve it subject to those conditions.
I second that.
Okay. It's carried. Thank you very much, everyone. And Kelsey and Carrie, I'll look forward to your finalizing this condition for us, if you will. Thank you.
okay, can I ask a question? So what is Scott's next step? Does he just wait to hear from you? Because apparently there needs to be some more inspections done. So is that going to cause him?
Linda, we will follow up based on the recommendations. Kelsey will follow up this week with you and outline what the requirements are. We will continue to work with you on the next step. As you both are aware, and myself, I'm working with your lawyer on the subdivision approval. So we will make sure that our steps are clearly laid out for you next few days.
Okay.
Thank you very much
That's
for all your
wonderful.
help through this too, because I didn't know what I was doing. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
No problem.
Okay,
Thank
we'll talk to
you.
you soon then.
So we can sign out. We don't need to be here anymore.
You can sign off.
Okay. Thank you very much for all
Okay.
your help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And I guess we're adjourned. Thank you very much. Nafisa, look forward to seeing you next meeting.
Yeah, sorry, it's my first time being here, so I was trying to figure out how does it really work out. I have
Completely
a
understand.
question. I have just a question. Maybe I'm missing something in the email. I'm not sure. Like I have any map or like showing anything about the adjacent blocks or like the units that they have around the house. Do we get anything like that or no?
I will let Kelsey speak to the staff report.
Yeah, are you looking for more like an overhead neighborhood look and see how close the other lots are?
Yes, because I just found the file that you sent it and I went through once to see what was like the like sending email back and forth for you know, getting approval, but that's all I got actually.
Really good point. So yeah, I can definitely include that in reports going forward, a more overhead look at the neighborhood instead of a single lot picture. That's no problem.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, thank